Hey guys, what's going on? It's Daituka and I'm back. My uni semester for the year is done, so I'm pretty much back to making content for you guys. I've got a lot of videos to make, so the first of which is going to be pretty much a set of Season 4 related videos. So I just thought now that Season 4 is upon us, I just thought it'd be cool to go through the balance changes as well as the new moves of my characters, as well as like my mains and my pocket characters. So yeah, I think it would just be cool to run through the changes, how I think they'll affect the gameplay of that particular character, as well as just my thoughts and opinions on the changes that they've made for Season 4. And what better character to start off with than my main character, Kazuya Mishima. Now, the first change we see to Kazuya in Season 4 is yet again, another nerf to his Rage Drive. So in Season 3, we saw a nerf to his damage for his Rage Drive. Mainly because I think the general consensus is just that, you know, at the wall, when you use this as a wall combo, you get some pretty insane damage. Now that's been, I guess, nerfed even more, as well as also for combos in the open. So before it used to do 45 damage, now it actually does 41, so it's 4 less damage. It really, you know, on paper, that's roughly a 10% decrease. I don't know, in my opinion, I really don't think it was unjustified. I think, you know, overall the Rage Drive is already really good. A lot of people will complain that it is still overpowered even with this nerf. Hence, reducing the damage would just further make the Rage Drive, I think, a little bit more fair in terms of a competitive sense. And again, it still maintains how it does have a frame advantage on block of +5, and it also has its combo utility in the open as well as at the wall. So, you know, in a general kind of open combo, you still get a pretty good chunk of damage. That was just a very basic combo, but if we do something at the wall... Yeah, so we still... Yeah, I think overall it's still a lot of damage. I don't even think I got an electric on the last... I don't even think I got an electric on the third electric there, but you're still going to get insane damage with this one. I don't think it's too bad of a nerf. I really don't have an issue with this one. Okay, so next up we actually have a damage buff to Kazuya's 3-1 string. So 3-1 is a natural combo. It's of course part of the greater 3-1-4 string, which you often see used in the bread and butter staple combos for beginners in terms of Kazuya's combos. The last hit, the actual buff itself is that just the last hit, the 3-1, the 1 itself has actually been buffed by 3 points from 7 up to 10 damage points. I think this is a pretty considerable buff, and it is a welcome one. Mainly just, you know, just to consider that a lot of Kazuya players do use 3-1 for wall carry combos. So, you know, you have your staple electric combo there. You got while standing 2. You know, everyone uses this. Even people nowadays, it's a lot easier to use 3-1-4 after twin piston, now with back 2-1. I think it's just, you know, a decent buff to overall combo damage, and, you know, just for the high damage output when you're going for a wall carry in your combo. So it's really great to see. I think it's also going to help Kazuya players that aren't so experienced, so they will tend to rely on this a bit more in their combos. I think it's good to help out those less experienced Kazuya players. Kazuya's Oneplus 2 has also seen changes in Season 4, so it's his 12 frame mid punish. It's essentially a double punch, which is known to, you know, knock down on hit. It used to be -14 on hit, so that is actually one of the changes they made to the second hit, but I'll go in order in terms of how they've listed it here. So for the first hit just has a reduced strength of pushback on hit, and also they've increased the lower range of the attack. I think this change is mainly to increase the consistency of the wall. So I'll show you guys what I mean. But for this combo at the wall, this used to be quite inconsistent depending on the angle that you're on. But I think now that increase to the lower hitbox of the first hit will make it a lot more consistent. And I've noticed that too, just in my testing and playing online. I've noticed it's a lot more consistent, this wall combo. And also the second hit, like I said, they changed that to -13 instead of -14, so not many characters can launch you for it now, but a lot of characters do have a decent 13 frame punish, so it's definitely not a move you still want to be throwing out there. They have also shortened the recovery on hits, so that means you'll get more time to follow-up for Oki on knockdown. So, you know, more frame advantage essentially. And they've also decreased the distance when they're knocked down. So I actually noticed that too. They're a lot closer to you than before. Well, at least noticeably closer to you than before on hit. So again, really good to see this buff. Kazuya's down forward 1-4 has also been buffed. The last hit was changed on block from -4 to -3. So a little bit of a buff there in terms of on block, you know, use of in neutral. Personally, I don't really think it's a really huge difference. You know, I don't really tend to throw this out there in the open too often, mainly because a lot of players do look to actually duck the second hit. Because really it's the only safe option that you have out of down forward 1, and its extensions at least. But they have also actually, with that change to the on block frame property, they've also made it actually +18 G instead of +17 as it was before. I really don't think this is going to be a major buff or anything. I guess it makes it a little bit safer to use, like I said, but you know, I don't really use this move too often, so I don't think it'll affect me too much. But yeah, might help some other Kazuya players out there. So again, we see yet another buff for Kazuya, but now to a much more key and I guess iconic move. So Kazuya's down forward 2, Gut Punch, now has an increased range. So the attack itself just has an increased range. I think it's, you know, it's a pretty long attack for a right punch, I would say. I've actually just noticed now on Kazumi, for some reason it doesn't want to hit her, but I was testing this out with Heihachi before, and it was reaching a lot further than it would before. So I guess on female characters, the buff itself won't be too noticeable, but now you can see that, you know, the down forward 2 does hit from a pretty good range. People love to complain about this move, mainly because of the down forward 2 electric, down forward 2 perfect electric rather. And now they've gone ahead and increased the range of it. I don't really quite understand that. You know, it's still -12 on block, it's +5 on hits. However, it is clear to see that they have increased the range, and I think it's a pretty big buff considering a lot of Kazuya players do tend to use down forward 2, sometimes too much. Sometimes too much. A lot of people get blown up for using this because it is -12 on block. A lot of characters have pretty good 12 frame punishes. They do add up. However, I just think with the increased range, it'll help Kazuya to potentially counter hit launch your opponent from a little bit further than before. So again, it's a pretty welcome buff. I guess also on top of that, because of the range buff itself, I think, you know, your opponent will have a harder time actually stepping at a longer range as well. So this is really a multi-dimensional buff. Hence, I'm not really sure whether it was actually quite necessary. It was already a pretty good move when used well. I didn't really think that down forward 2 was actually lacking in range before either, but you know what? It's a very good buff for Kazuya's offensive gameplay. The buffs keep on coming, so now we have Kazuya's down 1+2. This is one of my favorite moves of his, mainly because it is a, you know, true high crush, well, true high evasion, true high crush. You know, it's not too quick, but it's quite deceiving in animation. You can actually cancel it. But what they've gone ahead and done for Season 4 is actually change this move to +3 on hit, as opposed to +1 that it was before. I used to still use it when it was +1 before, but now you really cannot get interrupted anymore. This is quite akin to Heihachi's down back 2, where they just, you know, you cannot interrupt Heihachi after that. However, you know, I really like this move because it's, you know, it evades highs. It's also a counter hit launcher, and, you know, making this move a counter hit launcher, but also, you know, have that +3 property. It's really awesome to see. I do really like this move. They've also changed the animation, I guess, to kind of coincide with the frame change itself. Overall, a pretty strong buff to the move itself, but I don't think they went too overboard. I think +3 for a low like this is actually quite reasonable considering, you know, the options that you do have from crouch. If they went any further than +3, it'd probably be a bit ridiculous. But yeah, I think overall it's a pretty fair buff in my opinion. Just when you thought everyone hated Kazuya enough, they gave him yet another buff for this patch. Essentially, they've changed Kazuya's sidestep 1+2 to actually having better frames on block. So it is now actually -3 instead of -6. I think it's, you know, pretty decent buff for the move. To use this in the neutral, I don't see a lot of people doing this. I actually have some setups off this move, which I will make a video on in the future. But, you know, before being -6, I think it was very hard to keep your momentum if you did use this before in neutral. Making yourself -6, you kind of give up your turn, especially if you're playing a character with good generic tools. Now, at last, I wanted to leave this one till last because, in my opinion, it is pretty insane. It's not very far off from being broken. But essentially, every character in Tekken 7 for Season 4 got a new move as part of the new patch. And they decided to give Kazuya one of his best moves that he now has. I'll break it down to you guys. So, it's a new move out of while standing. It is while standing 1+2. And as you can see there, you know, doing while standing 1+2, he kind of swings his left hand across. Again, it's 13 frames quick. You know, it's -9 on block. So you can see there, -9, completely safe. It is also +14, +14G on hit. And on top of that, this spinning animation means that your opponent can actually be wall splattered if you hit them with this. With these stats alone, I think it's actually pretty good. You know, a safe move out of while standing that is also +14 to set up for pretty decent frame advantage. You can pretty much 50-50 them from this. Then they cannot interrupt you there. Also, considering it's actually 25 damage, so it's just as damaging as an electric, it makes the move very worth using. But there is even more to this. So on top of this, the move itself pretty much tracks completely. It is not a homing move, so you can see there's no you know, white sparks or anything coming from it. But it tracks almost completely. I'll just demonstrate now how difficult it is to actually sidestep for at least the computer. So I've set Kazumi to sidestep left. I'll just dick jab. Okay, sidestepping left, she gets caught. So tracks to Kazuya's weak side. Let's try sidestep right. That is not what I wanted to do. There you go, track sidestep right. Again, the computer might have a harder time sidestep guarding, but this is just more to emphasize how well, you know, this move tracks. Sidewalk left, no go. Sidewalk right, no go. So as you can see, this move is pretty good in terms of tracking. Furthermore, there is a counter hit knockdown. Yes, you heard that right. So it is a counter hit knockdown with a guaranteed forward 4. This is actually very similar to Kazuya's sidestep 1+2. It's pretty much the exact same knockdown, and then the Oki position is insane. You know, face up, feet away. I wouldn't really go as far to say that it is an overpowered move per se, but giving Kazuya this move out of wave dash really makes his wave dash pressure a lot scarier than it already was. Your opponent now, you know, has to tolerate a safe on block and fast counter hit knockdown tool. I really believe you didn't need this move, especially as strong as it is. Personally, I used to, you know, kind of pride myself on my ability to be able to wave dash cancel and, you know, use moves like while standing 2. You got, you know, the first hit of twin pistons. You got the second hit. While standing 4 doesn't take any execution at all, but I used to really pride myself on actually having my gameplay kind of involving using these moves out of wave dash, because they track your opponent from stepping really well, and a lot of people don't expect you to use them. But however, with while standing 1+2, I feel like it really makes this kind of gameplay almost easy mode. You know, before I felt like you had to be very calculated with how you use while standing 4, you know, twin pistons, while standing 2, which all these options except for while standing 4 can get you punished. And of course, it's used to catch your opponent ducking with wave dash pressure, or if they're trying to step you to option select you for offensive options. But now, while standing 1+2 pretty much covers almost all those bases that those other moves did. It kind of makes those moves almost pointless to use. There's zero risk, and in my personal opinion, Kazuya is really about risk and risk calculation, and I think that's really what made him fun. There's other characters in this game where you want to be calm and calculated and not use anything that's, you know, potentially unsafe. But I thought, like, personally, my opinion of Kazuya is that he's most fun when you play, you know, slightly risky, not too risky to get yourself killed, but risky to be fun. You know, a safe counter hit knockdown mid with 50-50 potential, as well as being 13 frames out of while standing, is the complete opposite of risk. and hence I just don't like the move too much. Again, I really don't think he needed it, but, you know, it's not going to stop me from using it. I'll still use this move, but, you know, it's just kind of, it's a little bit disappointing that they gave him a move that just kind of eliminates the need for some other moves that he has out of Wave Dash. That's all of Kazuya's changes for Season 4, so thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you found it useful, and be sure to let me know what you think of all the changes for Kazuya and leave a comment below. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say. And also, don't forget to subscribe to not miss any more of my content. I have a lot more Mishima related videos coming out very soon, so you don't want to miss out on that. As always, guys, have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.